Megan Harper was no stranger to challenges. As a young professional balancing a demanding job and a quiet suburban life, she often relied on her dog, Max, for comfort and companionship. Max, a spirited German shepherd, had been with her through thick and thin. He was more than a pet. He was family. Life in the small town of Willow Creek was peaceful, almost too peaceful. Megan had moved there to escape the chaos of the city, seeking serenity in the quaint streets and friendly neighbors. But the tranquility of her new home began to unravel when Max started barking every night at precisely 3 a.m. At first, Megan dismissed the barking as typical dog behavior. Perhaps it was a squirrel, a raccoon, or some other nocturnal animal passing through the yard. But Max's barking wasn't just a casual alert. It was urgent, desperate even, as if he were trying to warn her of something unseen. The pattern continued for weeks, and Megan's patience wore thin. Night after night, she would stumble out of bed, groggy and annoyed, to investigate. Each time, she found nothing. The yard was empty, the street quiet, and the neighborhood still. She began to wonder if Max was simply acting out, or if there was something more to his behavior. Determined to get to the bottom of the mystery, Megan decided to set up a camera in her backyard. It was a basic motion-activated device she'd purchased online, and she hoped it would provide some answers. She placed the camera on the porch, angled toward the spot where Max always seemed to focus his attention. The following morning, Megan eagerly reviewed the footage. At first, it seemed uneventful. The yard was calm, with nothing but the gentle rustling of leaves in the wind. But then, at exactly 3 a.m., a shadow flickered across the screen. It was quick, so quick that Megan almost missed it. She rewound the footage and played it back in slow motion. There it was again, a faint, human-like figure moving at the edge of the yard. Her heart raced as she paused the video, studying the grainy image. It wasn't an animal. The shape was too tall, too deliberate in its movements. Megan felt a chill run down her spine. Was someone watching her house? That night, she set up a second camera, this time covering the front yard. She also decided to keep Max inside, worried that whatever, or whoever, was out there might pose a danger to him. The next morning, the footage revealed even more unsettling details. The figure appeared again, this time lingering closer to the house. From the front camera, she saw footprints in the dewy grass, leading up to her porch and then retreating back to the street. Panic set in. Megan called the local police department, explaining the situation to Officer Carter, a seasoned detective who had seen his fair share of strange cases. Carter reviewed the footage and agreed it was suspicious, but without clear evidence of a crime, there wasn't much they could do. "We'll increase patrols in the area," he assured her. "But in the meantime, keep your doors locked and stay vigilant." Megan wasn't satisfied with waiting. She installed motion-activated lights around the property and even borrowed a friend's extra security camera. She began to notice small, unsettling details. An unfamiliar cigarette but near the mailbox, a slight scuff on the porch railing, the feeling of being watched when she stepped outside. For a few nights, the barking stopped. Megan thought the lights and added security measures had scared off the intruder. But her sense of relief was short-lived. On the fifth night, Max's barking returned, louder and more frantic than ever. Megan grabbed a flashlight and cautiously stepped outside. The night was cold and still, the air heavy with an eerie silence. As she approached the yard, her flashlight caught something unusual on the porch, a small wooden box. The box was unmarked, with no address or note to indicate who had left it. Megan's hands trembled as she opened it, revealing a bundle of old photographs and a folded piece of paper. The photographs were black and white images of a family, a man, a woman, and a young boy. They were smiling in front of a house that looked strikingly familiar. Megan's stomach dropped as she realized it was her house. The note read, "This is where it happened. Find the truth before it's too late." Megan's mind raced. What did the note mean? Who had left the box? And what had happened at her house? She decided to dig deeper, reaching out to the Willow Creek Historical Society. The society's records confirmed that her home had been built in the 1930s and had changed hands several times over the decades. But one family stood out, the Ashfords. According to local lore, the Ashfords had lived in the house during the 1950s. The father, Robert Ashford, was a traveling salesman, often away on business. One fateful night, while Robert was out of town, his wife and young son disappeared without a trace. Their disappearance had never been solved, and Robert left Willow Creek shortly afterward, never to return. The revelation sent shivers through Megan. Could the figure in her yard be connected to the Ashfords? That night, she reviewed the camera footage again, looking for any new clues. At exactly 3 a.m., the figure appeared once more, lingering near the porch. This time, however, Megan noticed something she hadn't seen before. The figure was holding something in its hand. The next morning, Megan shared her findings with Officer Carter. He agreed that the situation warranted further investigation and arranged for a forensic team to search the property. The search uncovered a hidden cellar beneath the house, its entrance concealed by decades of overgrown vegetation. Inside, they found a chilling scene. Old, rotted furniture, dusty toys, and a rusted metal box containing letters and documents. The letters painted a dark picture of Robert Ashford's life. They revealed a history of abuse and control, suggesting that he may have been involved in his family's disappearance. Among the documents was a torn photo that matched one of the images from the wooden box Megan had received. With this evidence, the police reopened the Ashford case. DNA testing confirmed that human remains found in the cellar belonged to Mrs. Ashford and her son. The case, though decades old, was finally solved. As for the mysterious figure, it turned out to be a distant relative of the Ashfords, driven by family lore and guilt to uncover the truth. He had been leaving the clues in hopes that someone would take action. For Megan, the ordeal was both harrowing and enlightening. Max's instincts had led her to uncover a piece of history that had long been buried, both literally and figuratively. Her quiet suburban life was forever changed, but in the end, she felt a sense of closure. The house, once a place of darkness, was now a symbol of truth and justice. And as she sat on the porch with Max by her side, Megan felt an overwhelming gratitude for her loyal companion, whose barks in the night had uncovered a story that needed to be told.